Sure, you can have regular fried eggs for breakfast, but let's be real. That's boring as hell. You don't have to be boring. You just have to think outside the box. And you can start by trying these eggy upgrades.
Does anybody else feel like a fried egg?
Sometimes all it takes to make top-notch fried eggs is some wine vinegar, either red or white, whatever you have on hand. You'll want to pour some into the pan right before you get ready to crack your eggs, so they'll have time to soak up some of that flavor before the vinegar evaporates. Not only does the vinegar add a touch of acidity to your eggs, but it also can make them creamier because of the way the acid in the vinegar reacts to the proteins in the eggs. Have some soy sauce in the pantry? You're in luck because it can seriously elevate your eggs. Soy sauce has a complexity and depth that you won't get from eggs on their own. So adding it to your eggs while they're frying can completely transform the dish. It's especially nice when you're eating your fried eggs with rice. Just keep in mind that you won't want to use too much soy sauce, as it can make your eggs too salty and heavy tasting, even though your yolks will be begging for more.
Isn't soy sauce the best?
Anchovies can actually seriously upgrade your fried eggs. By melting some anchovies in butter or oil before frying your eggs, you'll provide a salty, super satisfying flavor base. If you cook them before the eggs even reach the pan, you won't even really get any hunks of fish. Instead, you'll just be met with an intensely savory flavor profile that really makes your eggs pop. This combo works because on their own, eggs can be somewhat flavorless. Anchovies have an especially strong salty flavor, so they complement neutral eggs well. Don't want to use actual anchovies? Well, you can still get that nice salty, savory flavor profile with fish sauce, which is actually made from anchovies. Just add a few glugs of it to your eggs as they're cooking, and they'll be transformed from an average breakfast into something worthy of a restaurant menu. Fish sauce doesn't just work for fried eggs either. If you want to take your scrambled eggs to the next level, add some to the egg mixture before you start cooking for similar results. Heavy cream is an unconventional ingredient for cooking your eggs that can make them deliciously creamy and rich. You'll want to pour some heavy cream in a hot pan before you even crack the eggs in. Wait until the heavy cream boils. Once some of the liquid evaporates, you'll be left with a flavorful fat that's perfect for cooking eggs in. It's a great way to use up any extra heavy cream you have on hand, and it'll yield some of the most velvety fried eggs you've ever tried. Shakshuka is a dish that involves eggs cooked in a kind of tomato sauce. It's deeply flavorful, but it can take some time to make, which may take it off the table for busy weekday mornings. But if you want to capture some of that flavor without actually having to make shakshuka, you can incorporate some tomato paste into your fried egg dish. Thin it out a bit and add some to the pan before you crack your eggs in. Or just heat up the tomato paste and use it as a base for your eggs on the plate. Either way, the sweetness and acidity from the tomatoes is a nice touch. If you want a delicious treat, try making fried eggs with breadcrumbs. If you don't already have some on hand, just crumble up a loaf of bread, either fresh or stale, and fry the crumbs in the pan before adding the eggs. The breadcrumbs will get nice and crispy, which will lend the eggs some much-needed texture. For maximum deliciousness, make sure you leave the center of the egg yolks a little bit runny. Once that yolk soaks into the breadcrumbs, you're in for a serious feast. Sometimes the strength and pungency of onions are just not what you want in a dish. You can still capture a similar flavor, though, by using shallots instead.
Are shallots onions?
Yeah.
Shallots are in the onion family, but they are quite a bit milder, which allows them to pair perfectly with fried eggs. For best results, mince your shallots before adding them to the pan. Cook them slightly until they start to become translucent, then break your eggs into the pan and fry away. Perhaps you want to add some brightness to your eggs. In that case, you should consider adding dill to the dish. You can utilize dill in a few different ways. To keep things as simple as possible, just sprinkle some on top of the eggs as they're cooking. This takes basically no time and will add a fragrant touch to the eggs. If you really want to properly harness the flavor of dill, fresh is best. Pick the spindly leaves off of the tougher stalks and toss them on top of your eggs right before you pull them off the heat. If you've been to Trader Joe's before, you have it sitting in your spice rack. Everything but the bagel seasoning. It's one of the best seasonings around, and it goes great on fried eggs. It shouldn't come as a surprise that a combination of sesame seeds, poppy seeds, onion, garlic, and salt would come together so beautifully with fried eggs. It's just a common-sense breakfast combo. Chives are pungent enough to alter the flavor of whatever you're making, but they're much less intense than onions or even scallions, which can sometimes overpower the milder eggs. Incorporating chives into your recipe for fried eggs is simple. Just mince them and sprinkle them on top of the eggs, once they're close to coming off of the heat. You probably won't want to cook them for long though because they're so delicate. Once you take a bite, you'll get what all the chive hype is about. Za'atar is a seasoning mix that's native to the Levant region. It's made with a variety of spices and herbs, including oregano, thyme, sumac, sesame seeds, and marjoram. Whether you make your own Za'atar at home or you've purchased some of it pre-mixed, you'll find that it adds an incredible amount of flavor to your fried eggs. Eggs can really handle a lot of seasoning, and since Za'atar combines so many flavors into one, it just makes sense that it would pair well with eggs of any kind. You don't have to buy a whole fennel to take advantage of the seeds. You can buy the seeds alone in the spice section. Fennel seeds have a light, floral quality to them that pairs nicely with many other flavors. In fact, there's a good chance that you've eaten fennel seeds in sausage before, as it's a common addition in many ground meat products. But you don't have to make sausage, because they also taste amazing when they're eaten directly on eggs. Just don't overdo it. The crunchiness can be off-putting if you use too much. Crushed red pepper isn't just for pizza. It can go on just about any food you want to add some heat to. And eggs are a food that takes to crushed red pepper particularly well. Plus, it's super easy to add this ingredient to your eggs. Just sprinkle some on while you're cooking the eggs. Or save it until you've already got your fried eggs on your plate. If you're not used to eating a lot of crushed red pepper, start slow so you don't accidentally make your breakfast too spicy.
Give me all the bacon and eggs you have. Do you understand?
If you don't have time to make eggs and bacon for breakfast, you can still get that delicious mix by adding some bacon bits to your fried eggs. You can make them ahead of time by frying bacon in a pan, crumbling them up, and then saving them in the fridge for whenever you're ready to make eggs. Or you can just use the pre-cooked kind. Either way, it'll taste like you spent a lot more time on breakfast than you actually did. If you want to add some crunch to your fried eggs, grab some sesame seeds and start frying. First, heat up some oil or butter on the stove. Then sprinkle your sesame seeds into the fat. Immediately crack your eggs over the bed of sesame seeds and continue cooking until the eggs have reached the right consistency for you. The result will be a nutty and supremely crunchy breakfast that's extremely easy to make. Although you can also add sesame seeds to the top of your eggs after you take them off the heat. This method toasts the seeds, which adds even more flavor to the finished dish. This one may not be intuitive, but pickle brine tastes amazing when you pair it with fried eggs. Once they're almost done cooking, pour your pickle brine into the pan, turning it to make sure all the eggs are covered. Take the eggs off the heat, plate them, and enjoy the results. You'll love this egg cooking method because it's a great way to use up any extra pickle brine you may have in the fridge. Don't be afraid to add something spicy to the combo as well, as the brightness of the pickle juice will allow the dish to absorb some heat. Chimichurri can make a beautiful addition to more than just meat. It contains all kinds of flavorful ingredients like parsley, garlic, oil, vinegar, and chili flakes, so it's going to make pretty much everything, including eggs, taste good. You can easily cook your fried eggs in the chimichurri, but you can also drizzle it over the top after you've finished cooking the eggs. Either way, you're not likely to be disappointed. Do you usually keep some taco seasoning in your pantry? Well, you're in luck because you can also use it on eggs. While taco seasoning may usually be saved for beef, chicken, fish, or even tofu, the neutrality of eggs provides an ideal backdrop for taco seasoning, which generally contains spices like chili powder, cumin, onion powder, and garlic powder. If you don't have any pre-mixed, you can easily make your own to experience the same complex flavor profile. Maybe you want to add something to your eggs that will not only flavor them, but also make them a bit more substantial than they would be otherwise. That's when you should consider crumbling some chorizo into the pan in which you plan on cooking your eggs. Chorizo will also add some spicy oiliness to the dish, which further enhances every bite of your eggs. And you won't have to make any meat on the side. It'll all be mixed into one dish. If you're worried about making bland fried eggs, there's one ingredient that almost guarantees that you'll be happy with the final result: chili crisp. You'll love adding chili crisp to your eggs, thanks to the spiciness, which, when eaten with neutral eggs, really makes the dish pop. But the crispy parts of chili crisp will also add some much-needed texture to your breakfast. Add some chili crisp to the pan before you start cooking your eggs, and the eggs will soak up all that spicy goodness. Just make sure the chili crisp you're using is spicy enough for your taste. Adding garlic confit to your eggs will transform your breakfast into something special. Garlic confit is basically garlic that has been cooked low and slow in oil or some other type of fat for several hours. It renders the garlic cloves super moist and soft, so soft in fact that it's spreadable. The flavor is sweeter and less sharp Then raw garlic. By mashing up some garlic confit and adding it to your fried eggs, you'll get an incredible burst of flavor. Capers may be small, but they pack a ton of flavor. The little salty green nubs can completely transform an average plate of fried eggs into an unforgettable breakfast. You can use capers in your eggs in a few different ways. To make things as easy as possible for yourself, just add half a teaspoon to your fried eggs after you've already plated them. If you really want to go all out, though, you can fry your capers along with your eggs. This will help you integrate the flavors better, and the capers will become nice and crispy.